Tonight at 9, a deadly home invasion has some Prairieville residents up in arms. See what area neighborhoods could be targeted next. And an update on the Sunshine Bridge, what repairs are being made, and when local residents can expect to see the bridge fully reopened.
And LSU sports fever with the purple and gold grabbing wins and now some sky-high expectations across the college sports spectrum. We'll take a look at how some Tiger fans are reacting to the school's winning ways.
Live, you're watching Fox 44 News first at 9, your local news leader.
Good evening, I'm Lauren McCoy.
And welcome in, everyone. I'm Chad Sabity. Thank you for joining us for Fox 44 News First at 9 o'clock. New at 9, residents of a Prairieville neighborhood say they are afraid that their area is being targeted by thieves and drug dealers.
This comes after one person was shot and killed during a home invasion this morning. Fox 44's Tisia Muzinga explains their concerns. Tisia.
Lauren, a lot of those residents in the Bishop Woods subdivision say it was once a quiet and peaceful neighborhood, but now they say they're used to hearing gunshots almost every other night.
Do you feel safe?
Not really.
How do you protect yourself?
Well, I carry on too. I'll firearm.
Lawrence Brown says he'll be ready if he's next. He hears the late-night gunfire from potential robbers outside of his house in the Bishop Woods subdivision in Prairieville too often, and now he's afraid the neighborhood may be targeted.
That's bad.
He says he remembers the night his neighbor was robbed at her house several months ago. It's a memory he says keeps him up at night.
I heard it.
What did you hear?
I hear gunshots. 5 gunshots.
No lives were lost that night, but almost the same scenario happened down the road. The Ascension Parish Sheriff's Office is investigating a deadly home invasion at this house. Police say it happened around 3 Wednesday morning. Deputies believe there was a shootout between 20-year-old Major Payton and the 60-year-old homeowner. Investigators say Payton broke into the home. He died. The homeowner was taken to the hospital. Payton is from Baker, but there's no word on why he was in Prairieville late at night. It's a tragic story Brown says he hears all the time.
I saw one day I was out here, 8, 9, 10, 12-year-old boys dragging automatic weapons.
But what Brown wants to focus on is finding a safer place to live.
We're in a critical time right now. Young men don't have no jobs. And it's hard to get a job when you've been convicted.
Now, I spoke to a relative of the homeowner. He didn't want to go on camera, but he did say the 20-year-old entered the home through a rear window by removing an air conditioning unit. That's when he came face to face with the homeowner. For Fox 44 News, I'm Tisia Muzinga.
Tisia, thank you. The name of the homeowner has not been released. Well, new information at 9, an update on the Sunshine Bridge. Department of Transportation officials say after some bad weather, they expect to finish repairs on the bridge by mid-March. After that, there will be some lane closures to finish the maintenance work that was planned before the collision. That work is expected to be done by August. An update to a story we first brought you earlier this month. After a losing year for the Belle of Baton Rouge, the casino's parent company is now considering a move ashore. Fox 44's Amber Smith takes a look at what this could mean for the casino and the downtown area.
After a revenue drop, the Belle of Baton Rouge is considering how to bring the profit back. The casino's new general manager tells us the Belle's parent company, Eldorado Resorts, is considering a move on shore. While there's no decision yet, the company is sending representatives to Baton Rouge later this month to take a look at the cost and design options should the company decide to make the move.
It would add to the dynamic of downtown with additional type of economic development with restaurants and maybe live music venues or whatever they might want to propose. And it adds also to the diversity of the attractions we have along the river corridor.
Located downtown near the River Center, casino improvements could create another draw to the area. That's why the Downtown Development District Executive Director was a fan of the legislation passed last year that allows riverboat casinos in the state to move on shore, and why he hopes the Belle takes advantage of this new opportunity.
Our office will be supplying them requested information, but also the current status of downtown. I think that's important to know. And you can see the investment that's going on in the private sector around that area and around downtown as a whole.
These talks of a move come off a rough year with overall Baton Rouge casino revenue falling 15%. The Belle of Baton Rouge faced a greater decline with a 23% revenue drop compared to the year prior. Those involved say the potential changes under consideration could help turn that around.
There's a lot of pluses with that going landside.
For Fox 44, I'm Amber Smith.
This idea is just in the planning phases with nothing set in stone right now. If the Belle makes the move, it could be the first Louisiana casino to move onshore since new legislation passed last session.
Moving to Washington, the deadline for the government shutdown looms as a compromise bill to avoid another shutdown is now in the hands of lawmakers on Capitol Hill. The spending bill would give President Trump more than $1 billion for a wall on the southern border. That number is far below the $5 billion he has asked for repeatedly. Now, President Trump has indicated he might sign this new spending bill, but in the past, he's also indicated that if he vetoes the bill, he could still secure funding by declaring a national emergency. We spoke with Senator John Kennedy of Louisiana today, who says he has not decided if he will vote for this proposal. When asked if President Trump could sign a bill and declare a national emergency, here's what the senator had to say.
It's a very good question. It's not a dumb question. That's a smart question. Yes, that could happen. The national media, quite frankly, hadn't picked up on that yet. But I was going over some of the materials early this morning, and that occurred to me.
Again, the deadline is looming. Friday at midnight is the mark to reach some sort of agreement. Meanwhile, lawmakers also say they plan to vote on a bipartisan border security bill tomorrow. The bill does not give President Trump, again, all the money he's demanded for a border wall, but the president says he's also eager to avoid another government shutdown. Lawmakers say the bill does include $1.3 billion for roughly 55 miles of a border barrier, far short of the $5 billion the president has demanded for the wall.
The United States of America cannot afford another government shutdown.
House Democrats say the earliest they would vote on the border bill is tomorrow night. That gives Congress only a few more hours to get that bill to the president's desk.
Immigration advocates, including more than 50 Dreamers, are on Capitol Hill this week to press lawmakers to support protections for immigrants, along with border security. Fox 44's Anna Wernicke reports their biggest sponsors are actually two Republicans.
Bernardo is a dreamer. His parents moved to the U.S. illegally when he was 6 years old.
I only learned I was undocumented when I was 16 and I tried to apply for a driver's license.
But because of the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program, known as DACA, Bernardo was able to graduate from college in the U.S.
I have a job lined up, but without a permanent resolution for Dreamers, my future is uncertain.
Bernardo says 1.2 million Dreamers are facing a nightmare, not knowing if they will be deported. And he says their best bet to make sure that doesn't happen are these two Republican lawmakers. Republicans Will Hurd and Dan Newhouse are calling on their colleagues to create a permanent legislative fix for DACA.
A missed opportunity to finally put this issue behind us.
Why was the DACA fix taken off the table during these current negotiations?
They say Congress dropped the ball by not including DACA in the border security deal lawmakers introduced to avoid another government shutdown on Friday. Hurd says he's working with Republicans and Democrats to introduce legislation that would give Dreamers full and permanent protection.
These people, they're already Americans, and let's make sure we streamline that process.
Hurd says the Democratic majority House will eventually pass a law to help the Dreamers. He says the real challenge will be winning over his fellow Republicans in the Senate. In Washington, I'm Anna Wernicke.
Well, here at home, times are good in Tiger Town with the purple and gold grabbing wins across the college sports spectrum. Fox 44's Harrison Golden catches up with fevery LSU faithful.
This image of LSU basketball coach Will Wade circulating on social media, cementing the majestic mindset these days in Baton Rouge sports.
All the way to the rack. Tipped in. Is it good?
Tuesday night's buzzer beater against the top 5 Kentucky Wildcats, a reminder that another cat is on the prowl.
It was a great game, a great win.
I saw the highlights on SportsCenter, and you know, they did phenomenal. So you take a little pride in your home state.
I'm an avid LSU fan. I bleed purple and gold. Go Tigers.
Beyond that hardwood, that going seems good whichever LSU sport you go. The softball diamond undefeated and outscoring opponents so far this year, 73-2.
I'm so proud of this dude right here.
All after the football Tigers last month made the Fiesta Bowl theirs.
It's a great time to be a Tiger fan. We're very fortunate to have the coaches we have, the athletes we have.
And then there's baseball. LSU ranked #1 in multiple preseason polls, with pitchers, hitters, and supporters ready to prove why this weekend.
I expect a good year from them. Great talent in the state. There's just Louisiana just produces great athletes.
Well, it just means we get to go out there and have a good time. Tailgate, eat, drink, and get back together with all our friends.
In Baton Rouge, Harrison Golden, Fox 44 News.
In case you're keeping track, LSU baseball starts its season Friday at 7. They face UL Monroe at the Box.
Hey, winning is contagious, right? Well, LSU basketball continues to win, and now the clock is ticking for LSU students hoping to catch the men's basketball team in action, hosting top-ranked Tennessee a week from Saturday. The university says the cutoff date for students to reserve a seat inside the Maravich Center is next week on Tuesday at 5 p.m. They can log on to their LSU Sports account to grab a spot. If a student is chosen to receive a ticket, you will find out by next Thursday, February 21st. That is certainly a hot ticket in town. Well, on Sunday, the NASCAR season also kicks off with the 61st running of the Daytona 500. Dan Lucas spoke with many of the drivers at Media Day festivities who said the goal at Daytona is always to obtain this life-changing win.
Countdown to Daytona is being brought to you by Gotros Outdoor Power.
Few trophies in sports rival the massive Harley J. Earl. And that's just one of the fruits if you can win the Daytona 500.
After winning it, you respect it more than what you did before you win it, because you see all the media and fanfare.
It's definitely its own race, set apart from the season, and all we want to do is win.
Yes, Daytona is different. Even a young driver knows what happens if you can make it to victory lane. And the key word is if. A perfect race strategy can be wiped out in less than a second. Driver Chris Buescher finished 5th in last year's race. What did he earn? Knowledge on how to aim even higher.
It's hard enough to finish the 500. We've been able to be there at the end, put ourselves in position, and really that's the key. If you're there enough, then you'll be able to capitalize on it one of these times.
Now, Buescher finished 22nd in Daytona 500 front row qualifying last Sunday. Like many of these drivers, he hopes to have a strong start and effort in tomorrow night's qualifying race to then put himself in a good starting position for the big race on Sunday, the Daytona 500, almost here. Still to come tonight, cleaning up Baton Rouge, how several volunteers came together today in an effort to help keep Dawson Creek clean.
And uncovering history. In tonight's edition of Hidden History, we will introduce you to 3 men who helped pave the way for thousands of enslaved Africans when Fox 44 News at 9 returns.